AITA for shutting off the movie halfway through and making my boyfriend feel bad? My boyfriend and I always watch movies together every time we have off days that end up on the same day, especially since the pandemic. And we go back and forth on who picks the movie. But I've noticed he's usually talking through my movie choices, either pointing out plot holes or just talking down about the movie in one way or another. I never act this way when it's his turn to pick the movie, even if I don't care for it. Like the last movie he chose, The Fountain. I was so confused until halfway through, and then bored the rest of the film. But I didn't talk during the movie or constantly dump on it either. And even at the end when he asked what I thought, I said it was alright, even though I thought the movie wasn't good. It tried to do a bunch of different things all at once, and ended up doing nothing. But he seemed really fond of it, so I didn't want to hurt his feelings. But he doesn't seem to have that mindset when it comes to him watching my picks. I've told him to shush and to just watch the movies, but he just sighs loudly and says they're boring. If I tell him to stop, he gets all huffy and goes totally silent and usually takes his phone out to play a game or scroll the internet, totally ignoring me and the movie. It really hurts my feelings. And yesterday was my turn to choose again, and I picked a good movie that really hit me hard as a kid. And I told him this movie was special to me, but he barely got 10 minutes into it before he started up saying it was boring and childish. It is a kid's movie, but that doesn't make it boring. I was getting upset, and before the big part of the movie even got close, I just couldn't take it anymore. I felt like him acting this way during a super important part would ruin the movie for me, maybe forever, so I just got up and turned it off. He asked what I was doing, and I told him I didn't want to have the movie ruined for me, so it was better if I just turn it off. He said I was being a baby and to turn it back on. I refused and just told him to pick something to watch instead. Then I sat on the couch. He got mad and said if I was going to be dramatic like this, then he didn't want to watch anything with me, and got up and went to his room and slammed the door. This happened the other day, and he's been giving me the cold should, and when I asked why, he said he wants an apology for making him feel like dirt. Should I apologize? Did I really make a huge deal out of just a movie? AITA? I've gotten a lot of comments and IMs asking what the movie I chose was. It was The Bridge to Terabithia. It's not the best movie ever, but it was the first kids movie I watched when I was young that really moved me and made me cry. Verdict. Not the asshole relevant comments lurking entropy NTA. I can't really say what I want to without violating some of the rules here about being civil, so I'll just say that he's treating you like crap. From how he's acting, your movies are garbage and he gets to rag on them as much as he wants, or else you're being childish, yet you don't do the same back. That's not a basis for loving relationship if he disrespects you that much, and that easily. OOP, it definitely hurts, but they're just movies and shouldn't affect me this much. My sister says I'm being too sensitive again, and that I shouldn't let him not liking my movies affect me this much. Outside DTCZ should doesn't exist, OP. It's just a projection. It does affect you this much, and that's valid. Your hurt is real. Put the effort there, not into the voice of should. Sinjuri NTA, it's understandable you're annoyed, and even more so that you didn't want an important special movie to be ruined by his commentary and making you feel worse. For a guy that likes to bash children's movies, he seems awfully childish. Have you tried talking to him about how it makes you feel when he does that? Would it help? OOP, I've talked to him before about it, and he'll usually say he'll try to give my stuff a chance, and he does for a bit before he forgets or something and goes right back to how he was before. Drink deep NTA. Pretty clear that you're trying to be respectful, and he's not. Won't comment further on that. I will recommend moving away from I pick or you pick because it causes this situation, polarizing movies that resonate with a certain type of person. I suggest you come to a movie decision together. Not only does this meet both your needs, you might enjoy a movie that is outside your comfort zone, but straddles the line of things you like. OOP, we've tried that, but he usually dominated the movie choice unintentionally, so we moved to each pick movies we like, so we'd each get a choice. Drink deep, hate to say it, but sound like this is a bigger problem than picking a movie. Malachite Macchiato NTA. He acts like an asshole when it's your turn to pick, and when you decided you had enough and walked away, he decides to give you the cold shoulder? He should feel like dirt for always putting down your movie choices and being an ass when you walked away to try to avoid conflict. Info. How does he treat you in other ways? Does he generally disregard your opinions and tastes, or does he respect them? If you all get along well in other ways, you may have need to make an agreement that he learns to shut it during your movie, or you get to give your honest opinion about his movie choices. OOP, he usually doesn't care about what I like or enjoy. Not in a disregarding way, but in a way like he doesn't mind. He sometimes teases me for watching kids' cartoons or movies, but it usually doesn't bother me. Wictwood dude, if he's making you sit through Aronofsky movies, he doesn't get to make fun of other people for watching stuff that's actually enjoyable. He sounds like a film snob. Head of Slytherin info. Do you live together? Also, how old are the both of you? Are you over 18? OOP, we don't officially live together, but he spends a lot of time at my place compared to his own. Mostly because he says he likes my place better, and because he says his roommates are jerks. I don't mind so much, because when he's not over, my place is pretty quiet. And I'm 25, and he's 38. Her Katrina more like NTA, major red flags I see, and he definitely is the holy and owes you the apology Lullabug 247. I just love how he throws a temper tantrum about her being too dramatic. You calmly explained he was ruining it for you, and in his attempt to tell you how you're overdramatic, he acts like a toddler. Hypocrisy like that makes me laugh, and I would have probably done so in front of him. And remark that it's funny how he think him being a toddler was going to change how I felt about his ruining my movie. And laugh openly all the time at his hypocrisy people like that you shouldn't even waste energy engaging or getting mad at. You won't fix or change anything, just make yourself tired in the end. Suspicious Cupcake 23, he reminds me of the guy that yelled at me for being a drama queen and putting on a little scene for everyone when I talked calmly and he turned red and pounded the table. But you know us women, always full of the drama. OOP updated the post. July 17th, 2021. Hey. Final edit. I ended up having to call my parents who called the cops on Wyatt. I read all the advice from everyone saying he wasn't respecting my interests or me as a person, and it got me thinking, and stuff I ignored or overlooked before started popping out to me. Stuff that didn't seem fair to me that I just put up with because I loved him. And so many people told me to just break up with him and I could do better. But I was in love and he was my first serious boyfriend, and I really just wanted to work things out and get through this thing with him. So I tried to sit down and have a serious talk with him, just hoping he'd listen this time. I told him how he acted made me feel, and his behavior during my movie choices ruined the experience for me. And I told him I never act that way during his movies because I know he likes them and I respect him and don't want to be mean or belittle his interests, even if they don't interest me. About then, he told me I was being dramatic again, and they were just stupid movies, and he tried excusing his behavior by saying my movie choices suck anyways. I was just so tired by this point and wanted some space and quiet to think about where we go from here. So I started to ask him to go back to his apartment for the night, but he interrupted me by yelling how since I couldn't have my way, I was kicking him out. It really scared me because he'd never screamed at me before. Even when he'd raise his voice during arguments, he never full-on screamed at me. I tried to get him to calm down, but he started calling me a bunch of nasty stuff and even backed me up against a wall and grabbed my bicep hard enough to bruise I saw later. I panicked and ran to the bathroom and locked it behind me. He banged on the door, telling me to come out, and I was crying and couldn't think of anything else to do but call my parents. Mom answered, and she could hear him screaming and the banging in the background. Her and Dad were freaked out, and Dad called the cops. Long story short, the cops and my folks showed up, and Wyatt was removed from my apartment, and my parents told him not to come back or we'd get a restraining order. It's almost 10:30 p.m. now, and I've locked my apartment up and am currently staying with my mom and dad for a while. Thanks for the advice, everyone. But Wyatt and I are pretty much over, and I think I'm done with this account, and I'll be logging off now.